Canada's political stage is on fire, and Pierre Poilievre just threw gasoline on it. In a fiery speech delivered in Ottawa, the Conservative leader didn't hold back, calling out the Liberal government for its failures, condemning the shocking rise of anti-Semitism, and demanding action to protect Canadian values. But while Poilievre was rallying Canadians with his bold vision, the Liberals were busy pushing a move that has sparked outrage across the country: a potential social media ban ahead of the next federal election. This isn't just politics as usual. Poilievre's speech has ignited a fierce debate about free speech, government overreach, and the future of Canadian democracy. And as we dig deeper, there's a surprising connection between the Liberals' controversial push and their growing fears about losing power, one that could completely shift how Canadians view this battle. So, is Poilievre the leader Canada needs to stand up for freedom and unity, or are the Liberals crossing a line in their attempt to control the narrative? Stay tuned, because later in this video, we'll uncover what's really driving the Liberals' drastic measures, and it's not what you might think. Pierre Poilievre's speech in Ottawa was a powerful condemnation of hate, a call for action, and a rallying cry for Canadians to unite around shared values. Standing before a crowd of supporters, Poilievre began by addressing the alarming rise of anti-Semitism in Canada, drawing on his personal experience at the March of the Living. He recounted a haunting story of walking alongside a survivor, a moment that highlighted the importance of standing against hate in all its forms.
On this story, the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the prisoners in Auschwitz-Birkenau has a special and important meaning to me. About 15 years ago, I was tasked with representing the government of Canada at the March of the Living, which is an inspiring gathering of survivors and Jewish youth who walk from Auschwitz, the first concentration camp, to nearby Birkenau, which was by far the most prolific. We walked arms locked. I was privileged to be with a survivor who was over 80 years old. And when we arrived at the gates of Birkenau, he stopped suddenly and he said, "That's where he stood." And he pointed into the air.
Poilievre's message was clear. Canada must not only remember the horrors of the past, but also take decisive action to combat the resurgence of hate today. He highlighted the shocking rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes, which have surged by 251% since October the 7th, and called for immediate measures to protect Canada's Jewish community.
We see on our own streets anti-Semitism, guided by obscene, woke ideologies that have led to an explosion in hate crimes. Hate crimes were up over 100% in Canada before October 7th. Now they're up 251%, with Jews being the principal victims of those crimes. We must not just condemn these things, we must take action against them.
Poilievre's speech wasn't just about words, it was about action. He proposed bold measures to address the issues plaguing Canada, including deporting temporary residents who engage in hate crimes or violence. This divisive stance drew a sharp contrast between Poilievre and the Liberal government, which he accused of failing to act against threats like the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps.
1%, with Jews being the principal victims of those crimes. We must not just condemn these things, we must take action against them. We must deport from our country any temporary resident that is here on a permit or a visa that is carrying out violence or hate crimes on our soil.
He didn't hold back in criticizing the Liberals for allowing IRGC officials to remain in Canada, some of whom he claimed are living in luxury while benefiting from stolen wealth. Poilievre called this a betrayal of Canadian values and a failure of leadership.
It was obscene that the IRGC remained legal in Canada for 4 years after it killed 55 of our citizens in the attack on PS Flight 752. It is outrageous that 700 IRGC officials are on Canadian soil, many of them living the lap of luxury on the fruits that they stole from their own.
But what truly set Poilievre apart was his ability to connect with everyday Canadians. He spoke directly to their frustrations, rising hate crimes, government inaction, and a lack of accountability. He ended this portion of his speech with a call for unity, urging Canadians to come together around shared values of freedom, democracy, and humanity.
Mission. We must stand up against these outrages and stand for bringing our people together, united in our common values, our common freedom, and our common love for our country and for humanity.
Quick pause. If you're enjoying this video, we'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe to the channel. Did you know that over 98% of our viewers watch without subscribing? Subscribing is free, and it helps us create more content you love. So go ahead and hit that button. It only takes a second. Thanks so much, and now back to the video. While Pierre Poilievre was delivering a powerful speech in Ottawa, the Liberal government and its allies were making waves with a controversial push to investigate social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, for alleged election interference. NDP MP Charles Angus, a vocal critic of Elon Musk, has taken center stage in this debate, accusing Musk of using his platform to amplify far-right ideologies and interfere in Canada's democratic process. Angus's remarks have sparked a firestorm of controversy, with critics questioning whether this is a genuine effort to protect democracy or a veiled attempt to silence dissent. In his interview, Angus didn't mince words. He accused Musk of providing what he called hidden donations to right-wing political parties, including Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives, by manipulating the platform's algorithms to favor their messaging. According to Angus, this kind of influence could undermine Canada's strict electoral laws, which are designed to ensure fairness and transparency.
Across the country right now is that we see that Elon Musk, a man who disgracefully used a Nazi salute at the inauguration, who's been playing really ugly word games with names like Himmler, Goering, has some of the worst mass killers in history, that this guy controls a media platform that could influence Canada's election, that he has shown a willingness to support disinformation. So my letter to Elections Canada is, do they have the tools to make sure that he doesn't monkey wrench our electoral process?
Angus's concerns go beyond Musk's alleged political bias. He has also highlighted Musk's controversial behavior, including his use of inflammatory language and his willingness to engage in what Angus described as ugly word games. For Angus, this isn't just about one man. It's about the broader implications of allowing a single, unregulated platform to wield so much power over public discourse.
That he has shown a willingness to support far-right parties, that he's already interfered in Canada's political scene, supporting Pierre Poilievre, the MAGA Maple guy. Conservative MPs have been supporting Elon Musk for promoting the growing level of hatred and
Angus's comments have ignited a fierce debate about the balance between free speech and the need to combat misinformation. While some Canadians agree that social media platforms should be held accountable, others see this as a slippery slope towards censorship. The timing of this proposal, so close to the federal election, has only fueled suspicions about the government's true intentions. Critics argue that this push is less about protecting democracy and more about silencing dissent. With Liberals facing plummeting approval ratings, some see this as a desperate attempt to control the narrative and limit the reach of opposition voices like Poilievre. Social media has been a powerful tool for Poilievre, allowing him to bypass traditional media outlets and connect directly with Canadians. Shutting down or restricting platforms like X could significantly impact his ability to reach voters. But Angus's proposal isn't without merit. Canada's electoral system is built on strict rules to ensure fairness, including bans on corporate donations and limits on individual contributions. Angus argued that Musk's control over X could amount to a violation of these rules, effectively giving millions of dollars in unregulated, in-kind contributions to political parties. He called for Elections Canada to implement measures like algorithmic transparency to ensure that platforms are not favoring one party over another.
And if Elon Musk is unwilling to respect Canada's electoral laws, will Elections Canada have the tools in place to take him on or to shut him down if necessary through the electoral period?
Angus's remarks also touch on a larger issue, the growing polarization in Canada and the role of social media in shaping public opinion. Platforms like X have become battlegrounds for political discourse where misinformation and divisive rhetoric can spread like wildfire. Angus warned that unchecked influence from figures like Musk could exacerbate these divisions, undermining Canada's democratic institutions. At the same time, the Liberals' push for social media accountability has raised questions about their own motivations. With public trust in the government at an all-time low, critics argue that this move could be an attempt to deflect attention from their failures and shift the blame onto external factors. The timing of this proposal, so close to the next federal election, has only added fuel to the fire.
Because it could be a very close election, and we cannot have men like Elon Musk, the broligarchy of the United States interfering in our country.
As the Liberals ramp up their calls for tighter controls on social media, Pierre Poilievre's recent speech in Ottawa serves as a sharp counterpoint. While the Liberals, led by figures like Charlie Angus, argue that platforms like X are enabling misinformation and unfairly amplifying voices like Poilievre's, the Conservative leader has framed this as an attack on free speech and a distraction from the real issues facing Canadians. In his speech, Poilievre didn't directly address the Liberals' accusation about Elon Musk or X, but his broader message was clear. Canadians are tired of a government that focuses on controlling narratives instead of solving problems. He criticized the Liberals for their inability to tackle rising inflation, unaffordable housing, and increasing crime while using social media as a scapegoat to deflect from their failures. This clash between the Liberals' push for regulation and Poilievre's defense for free speech has become a defining issue in Canadian politics. Angus's accusations that Musk is favoring Poilievre through algorithmic manipulation only add fuel to the fire, painting Poilievre as a beneficiary of what Angus calls hidden donations from the tech billionaire. The clash between Pierre Poilievre and the Liberals isn't just a political debate, it's a battle for the soul of Canadian democracy. On one side, the Liberals claim they're fighting to protect elections from interference, pointing fingers at Elon Musk and social media platforms like X. On the other hand, Poilievre stands firm, calling out the Liberals for trying to silence dissent and control the narrative while ignoring the real struggles of everyday Canadians. This isn't just about free speech or social media, it's about who gets to shape the future of Canada. Will the Liberals succeed in their push for tighter controls, or will Poilievre's message of freedom and accountability resonate with voters? The stakes couldn't be higher, and the next election may very well decide the direction of the country for years to come. What do you think? Are the Liberals justified in their concerns about social media, or is this just another distraction from their failures? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the biggest stories shaping Canadian politics. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.